Alright guys, so welcome back to this portion of Mr. Flores's online video helping stuff. And we will be doing word problems that involve factoring. Now I know everybody hates word problems, but they're actually the key to life, so that's what we're going to do. And we start off with one that says the length of a rectangle is 4 feet more than twice the width. The area of the rectangle is 48 feet squared. Find the length and the width of the rectangle. Well, with most word problems, especially ones that deal with shapes, let's just draw a picture. Okay? And it tells us that we have a rectangle. It tells us the length is 4 feet more than twice the width. Okay? Do we know what the width is? The answer is no. I'm just going to go ahead and say that let's put an X for our width. We'll say this is our width, this is our length. Okay? Now, the length of the rectangle is, so L is equal to 4 more than twice the width. So L equals 4 plus 2x. So 4 plus 2x. Imagine how nicely that works. Alright, so now we have both sides of our rectangle. And next part of the problem says we're dealing with the area. And the area of the rectangle is 48 feet squared. So 48 equals the area. Okay. Now in geometric terms, the area is length times width. So the area is also equal to, I'll do some math over here, x times 4 plus 2x, or when you distribute, 4x plus 2x squared. So 4x plus 2x squared. Well, the nice thing over here, we have 4x plus 2x squared equals area, and 48 also equals area. Okay. Now, nicely, since both of these things equal area, we can set these equal to each other. And we have 4x plus 2x squared equals 48. Okay. Nice enough. However, if you notice, we're going to have a polynomial. And I already told you we're going to be solving this by factoring. And we all know that when you solve something using factoring, you must have it set equal to 0. The only problem here is that our equation is equal to 48. So we got to kick this 48 to the left side. Okay? And we are going to be left with, I'm going to write it in descending order, 2x squared plus 4x minus 48 equals 0. You can't combine the negative 48 with anything since they don't have common terms, so this is what we're left with. Now this should look pretty easy because we just have to solve this. So we can pull out a factor of 2. We're left with x squared plus 4x minus 24 equals 0. Since the leading coefficient is 1, we just need two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add up to a positive 4. Okay? So I'm thinking 6 and 4. No. Let's see, 12 and 2. No. But the ones that do work, come on, my pen's not working. There we go. The ones that do work, and it froze again. Okay. Is positive 8 and negative 4. Okay? So it's still equal to 0. Oh, my pen's not working. Alright, so now in order to solve this one, we are going to see that we have 2 times x plus 8 times x minus 4. In order to solve it, we have to set both those things equal to 0. I'm actually going to go on another page. So it's, oops, not there. 2 x plus 8 x minus 4 equals 0. Now, the 2 doesn't matter since there's no x here, so we just need x plus 8 equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0, and we get x is equal to negative 8, x is equal to positive 4. Okay. Now, if we were just solving some arbitrary polynomial or trinomial, our answer would be x equals -8 and x equals 4. But if we go back to our actual problem, x represents the width of the rectangle. Can you have a width that's a negative value? Of course not. So the real one is x equals -4. Okay? But the thing with word problems is you must read the whole entire problem. So now the problem tells us find the length and the width of the rectangle. Okay? So we know that x is 4, so that's the width, but the length is equal to 4 plus 2x. So 4 plus 2 times 4 is equal to 12. So the length is 12, width is 4, and your final answer is that. So, see, we took a kind of not really confusing problem and used factoring to find out that the length is 12 and the width was 4. Okay, this is how you use factoring to solve problems, and it's really not that hard. You're just following the same steps we always did, but make sure you read the word problem to get the right answer. And the next one, this is probably one of the most common problems that use trinomials and factoring. Okay, and it starts off by saying Mr. Flores kicks a soccer ball into the air off the ground and is modeled by the equation h equals -16t squared plus v of t plus h sub 0. Okay, where h is the height of the ball, v is the initial velocity, and h of o is the starting height, and t is the number of seconds after the ball is kicked. I forgot to put in here that I kicked the ball. I kicked it at a v, or initial velocity, of, let's say, 4 feet per second. I forgot to put that in there. So I kicked the ball at an initial velocity of 4 feet per second. So plugging in what we know, we have -16t squared plus 4t plus, well, h sub 0 is the starting height. If you read the problem, it tells us that I kicked the ball off the ground. So the starting height is 0, so we actually don't have to put plus anything. Okay. Now, the whole point of this problem is to find out how long the ball is in the air. Okay. So if the ball is no longer in the air, that means the ball is on the ground. So the height is 0. So you have -16t squared plus 4t is equal to 0. So basically what really this problem is we're just solving for t. Now if we look here, we can factor something out, and the thing that we can factor out is a 4t. So -4t plus 1. Okay, so we solve for 0. We must set both parts equal to 0. So we have 4t is equal to 0. Then a -4t plus 1 is equal to 0. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. And we get that t is equal to 0. Subtract 1. So we get -4t is equal to -1. Divide by -4. Divide by -4. And we get t is equal to a positive 1/4. Okay. Now the question we are asked is, how long does the ball stay in the air? Well, t of 0 is arbitrary because that means that it was 0 seconds, which makes sense because when the ball, before I kicked it, the ball was already on the ground, so we can cross that guy out. The other t is 1/4. So since t is the number of seconds after the ball is kicked, and when t is 1/4, it's equal to 0, it took 1/4 or 1/4 seconds to hit the ground after I kicked the ball. So obviously I didn't really kick it that high. But that's how you solve this problem. It took 1/4 of a second to hit the ground. All right. If you have any questions, this finishes up Chapter 9 on factoring. If you have any questions, you can always ask me or your teacher. And good luck on the final. Next up's Chapter